So in this video, I thought we'd talk about what people ask us all the time. And one of the things they always ask, well, you know what they always ask us.
Absolutely. They want to know, how do we pick destinations? We've been traveling for over 3 years now and around the world in Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere and Europe and Americas and Southeast Asia. And they want to know, well, how do we pick places to go?
I think this question is funny because when we first launched, we had a giant list of all the places we want to go to. And I think we were able to develop that list because we developed a list of criteria right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right? We knew we wanted to be in 72 degrees, 20 degrees for our European friends. We knew we wanted to kind of travel in one direction, so we weren't hip hopping and flip flopping all over the country or all over the world. Right. And but now, as we've kind of exhausted our original gotta go to list, we really kind of have to think about where we want to go.
Yeah, except for Costa Rica. Costa Rica was the number one place that we were going to go to when we left the United States, and we have yet to be to Costa Rica yet. So plans do change, and our criteria might change a little bit as well. But we've been pretty consistent about wanting to be in good weather for one.
Yeah. So I guess that's so when people ask us, how do you decide? I think our first answer is always, well, what's the temperature? So we do a lot of Googling. We go to the different websites and Weather Channel and Spark Weather and Underground Weather, all these different weather places. And I actually usually what's most successful for me when I Google about weather is I Google what is the average monthly temperature in Kathmandu, and then it will tell me each month what the average monthly temperature is. And that's usually all I really need in order to decide whether it's a place we want to be in August or July or January or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And so weather is definitely a big criteria, but also it's not just necessarily the temperature. You want to know, is it the rainy season? Is it the dry season? What do I need to prepare for?
Is it humid?
Because it could be, 72 degrees, but it could be raining every day. So that might not be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then actually, there's some locations that the weather never is really great. And so we try to pick the least worst part of that. Like, we're going to go to Patagonia in January, and it's never going to be 72 degrees in Patagonia, but it won't be negative 72 degrees when we go there. Yeah. So we certainly try to pick the best weather of a location if there's a place we're going to go that's not the perfect weather.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I think it's, people, I think they get a little hung up, or they struggle with all this media that's thrown at them with where's the perfect place and what's the top 10 destination and the 5 great places to go in Europe or whatever, and all that's really tempting, but it comes down to, what do you really want to do? That we really had to investigate what was intrinsically interesting to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, we talking about the example is, if I'm a vacationer and I want to see the Eiffel Tower, there's nothing that's going to stop me. I mean, that's my destination. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to see the Eiffel Tower, and then I'm going to go home.
Right.
Full-time travelers have a little bit more flexibility. We don't necessarily have to see the Eiffel Tower today. We could plan on seeing it 6 months from now. But it's really, I think, about what are the kinds of things that we're interested in.
So what are some examples? So you used to really be into scuba. You're more into snorkeling now than you are in scuba. We like street art. We like, in Riga here, we've discovered a love for Art Nouveau. So we're enjoying that. Yeah. You guys know, if you've been following us for a while. By the way, I'm Chris. This is Steve. We're EatWalkLearn. Please follow us and go to on our website, we have over 100 destinations listed there, including many in the U.S. actually. Yeah. So go take a look at those. Anyway. Full-time travelers, we've been traveling for 3+ years. We sold everything back in 2021, and we've been on the road ever since, leaving from Denver. But that's who we are. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah. So, we were talking about just attractions or places that we want to go, things that interest us. So, when you were, mentioning that, it's like we're into cycling, we're into hiking. Right. These are things that interest us. They might not interest everybody.
We in relation to hiking. So we did the Camino before. We're going to do the Camino again. We're now developing a list of these full-time, long-term, multi-day hikes that we can do. We follow Facebook groups. On our Facebook group, every Thursday, I think it is, people list where they like to go hiking. Cycling, we've just figured out how to train in Riga for a month so we can cycle part of the Camino next month as we're going to hike and bike the Camino. We were in Aruba. We snorkeled almost every day in Aruba,
right.
so that was a lot of fun. So really, what are you interested in?
Yeah, and I just want to add that another thing we look for is volunteering opportunities.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, we were in Thailand. We spent a week volunteering at the Elephant Nature Park, which is a great opportunity to give back and help the elephants who are living out their lives in dignity.
In Puerto Vallarta, we volunteered at a local after-school daycare center and helped them set up their computer lab. Here in Riga, we volunteered for Ukrainian refugees, helping them practice their English, which they speak better than we do, so I'm not sure what we were practicing with them. So really, because we often we try to stay a month in every location, just going to go see the sites kind of gets old really quickly, or we get through that list very fast, and then we need to do something else. And volunteering in the community always helps us enjoy the community a little bit more.
Yeah. And we're also, as slow travelers, we're interested in some of the cultural aspects. We want to learn a bit of the language, and we want to learn about the different foods and the way people live, in their everyday lives.
Yeah, yeah. So another thing that when we set out our first list of criteria way back when was we had a budget. And we still have a budget. The budget's changed a little bit, but really it does come down to how much does it cost to go to that particular place.
I think that's always my first thing I say is, how much is that going to cost? I'm a little bit more in tune on the budget. And one of the things that I figured out is there are a lot of ways to make these great places affordable. And I don't know what.
So first of all, if it's over $2,000 a month to stay there, that's what kind of like our red flag or our litmus test for how we're going to enjoy that location. So if it's over $2,000, we start looking for house sitting opportunities.
Yeah,
right?
for our housing.
For our housing. For over $2,000 a month for housing, we start looking for house sitting locations. So we use a website called Trusted House Sitters. You can see our link down below.
Right.
And we apply for house sits and we do house sits. But if it's less than $2,000, or if we can find a way maybe to pay that amount with points or with rewards or certificates, we'll do that. If it's going to be actual dollars out of our pocket, then we start looking for ways to find locations there. Maybe we use Airbnb, or maybe we go directly to property managers and we interact with property managers to try to get a better rate than an Airbnb rate. Or we might even look at if downtown's the place to be, maybe that's $2,000, but then if you're only a couple blocks away or one train ride away, and that's $1,500, we might look at the $1,500 because we're going to probably be on the train anyway or on the subway anyway. It doesn't matter if we go one stop or two stops.
Yeah. So those are some great tips on how to save money on your accommodations. And there's just so many different ways. I mean, just what I just thought of is, last winter, we went to the Great Barrier Reef. Well, we didn't spend a month at the Great Barrier Reef. We spent 4 days or 5 days there. So the things that excursions, the places that you go to that are more expensive, maybe just spend less time there.
Well, and to that particular point, I think the advantage, particularly of being a full-time traveler in this particular instance of the Great Barrier Reef is, a lot of vacationers, they spend all this money to get to this really great location, and then they can't do it because the weather's bad or the water's choppy or they can't actually get in the water. So for us, we were able to spend 4 days at the Great Barrier Reef in case the weather got bad or we couldn't go the turbidity of the water or whatever. So that was kind of one of the advantages. Anyway, were you just drinking out of a purple cup?
I have a purple cup. Am I supposed to be like?
We're not promoting this particular company, but if you want to buy us a cup of coffee, you can see the link down below. So a friend of ours bought us a cup of coffee. She sent us some money for a cup of coffee, and she said it has to be out of a purple cup. So that was her criteria. Okay. And so there's evidence that we had a purple cup of coffee.
I get the connection now.
Yeah.
I think I always want to use a purple cup.
We should get a purple mug, but then we'd have to carry it.
Yeah, I don't have any room in my suitcase for a mug. For a mug.
Anyway, back to
we're talking about where do you want to go and what are some examples of places that you want to go to, and I think one of the things that I just thought of is that we try to flow throughout the world and not bounce around. So, and we use a lot of like repositioning cruises, maybe to get from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. Again, we're trying to move slowly, and we're not going to, jump between, Europe and then back to North America and then to South America and then back to Europe.
I was dazzling. I zigged. I zagged.
Over the seasons, we kind of move. So I think that helps us decide, where we're going. And
yeah, and it also reduces
places
costs
that we're
too,
gonna
because
go
a
to.
flight from, you don't want to go from Europe to San Diego to South Africa to
Exactly.
New York. That's really expensive flights and very long flights, and
Yeah.
you're going back and forth, and you're all these time zones and so on. We try to kind of move in one direction. So if we're moving north, we continue to move northerly. If we're moving west, we continue to move westerly. So if you look at some of our videos, we have these conglomeration videos of each year, and you can watch our total track for the year. And it's basically a circle. It might be a circle around the globe, or it might be a circle from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere to the north, but it's generally a circle. So we're not jig-jagging and, back and forth and zigzag like a crazy person. No, not that any of you are crazy. I couldn't do that.
Zigzagging is okay.
Zigzag as much as you want,
I don't
but,
want to do a lot of long distance
Yeah.
traveling in short amount of time. But that does kind of make me think about another criteria that I look for, and that's places that we want to go to. I like good sized cities. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I want ease of transportation, ease of getting around once I get to the destination where I am. So we don't often rent cars. We rely on public transportation, which means we're probably going to bigger cities, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, medium, big. But although Aruba wasn't a big city, they had a bus system. So
yeah, that's true.
But I think a lot of times we don't know this until we get there. But we find the cities that we like the most are the cities where the bus information is inside Google GPS. Because lots of times cities don't load up their bus, or Google, I don't know what the relationship is, but somehow the information does not get into Google. And so trying to find the bus routes is just an extra layer of difficulty and stress. So when you can just go into Google and you say, I want to go to the grocery store, and Google will tell you how to get there on the bus, that just makes things so much easier. And we don't bus or train or tram or whatever, but certainly, I mean, when we drove from Italy to Portugal, so we got a car for 6 weeks.
Yeah, we did. That's a good example of, very purposefully, renting a car and using a car because we wanted to go some places that public transportation just, didn't go to. It would be really hard to get there.
The original idea for that 6-week road trip through Europe came from when we were in vacation mode 5 years earlier or whatever. And we're like, I had gone to Europe, I had gone to Spain with our daughter, and I said, next time I come, I want to make sure I can drive all these different locations. I don't know now, as a full-time, slow-traveling nomad, would I want to get a car and drive for 6 weeks to 30 different places? That seems like an old, like us in our old style of travel.
Yeah.
We might do it. I mean, maybe we do that in Australia or something.
I mean, it makes a good point because, we're trying to slow down in our travel. We're trying to be very purposeful. And some people, their travel style is they spend 2 or 3 days, in a location, and they want to keep moving, and they want to, see more things in a shorter amount of time.
Next week we're going to Slovakia. We're getting a car, and we're doing all these different little teeny tiny towns in Slovakia and eastern Slovakia. So we're car bound. Maybe we'll get a cooler and actually be real car people and, stuff our car with stuff.
Cooler.
Ooh.
Snacks. That means road snacks.
Road snacks. What's your favorite road snack? Are you somebody that when you're in the car, you have to just kind of be snacking on something the whole time? What's your favorite road snack? You like peanut, what are those? Pretzels with peanut butter
from
stuffed
Trader
pretzels.
Joe's. I haven't had those in a long time.
Those are good.
They're so
Popcorn's
addictive.
good.
Yeah.
Popcorn's good too.
Carrot sticks for those healthy, conscious people.
Yeah.
Carrot, you got carrot sticks.
You know what I also really like to have when we're on a road trip? I like to have like a seltzer water, like soda, like bubbly water. You know what? That's a really interesting word. Some people say seltzer, some people say soda water, some people say bubbly water, sparkling water. Spring water is tap water, is still water.
Yeah, it can be, but okay.
Yeah, spring. So what do you call spring water? versus
Soda,
sparkling
seltzer,
water.
sparkling.
Yeah. What do you call it?
Perrier.
You're from Ohio, dude. You don't call it Perrier.
We call it club soda.
Club soda.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we should get to the last point that we want to talk about. And this is the most exciting. We should have said back at the beginning. Yeah. You
If
wait
you're
till
still
the last
with us.
one. If you're the last one, hit subscribe, hit like, blah 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 blah. Here's the last one. The last one. We want to go where everybody else is. Well, that's not really true. I mean, it's.
Well, one of the purposes of us being on social media is so we can share some advice that we have, and we could share ideas. Well, we do the same thing. We're checking out our buddies on social media and seeing where they're going and what are they doing. And sometimes we are like,
Yeah, we like to post.
invite people to come
we're
along
here.
with
Are you
us.
there? Or if you're there, we want to be there too. And we actually have some Nomad friends we've made that we actually schedule to be with them in locations now. So I think Nomads tend to be. It's kind of like magic. It's kind of like this magic that we all kind of tend to show up in the same places at the same time because we're all really looking for the same thing: affordable, good weather, fun places. I mean, we kind of, a lot of our criteria overlap, so we all end up kind of being in the same places at the same time. But it's always fun to be in places where people are. Like here in Riga, we've had 3 or 4 different meetups. We've got another meetup tomorrow, so that's great. If you guys are ever where we are, reach out because we'll meet up with you. I mean, we love hanging out with people.
Exactly.
I think Aruba was, we keep on coming back to Aruba. I think Aruba was the only place that we did not meet up with anybody else.
Well, we had Brian and Latrice.
Oh, yeah,
were
Brian
with
Latrice
us
were there for the
all
first week. But then after they left, I don't think anybody else came in town.
Yeah. Aruba's kind of remote.
Yeah, and it's a vacation place, and a lot of us aren't really on vacation. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
people go to Aruba to live for a month. That's true.
But so we have not only these YouTube videos, but we have our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And
our group.
Nomad Life,
Yep.
EatWalkLearn. So look up our Facebook page and you can find out, where we're going and where other people in the group are going. So you can kind of make that connection and get some ideas that way as well. And Chris is just an avid writer. So she's always writing blogs and
blah, blah, blah. Blog posts and blogs and
about where we're
social
going.
media.
And we want to know where you're going.
Yeah. So we're just hanging out on the couch today. Hope you like this sort of format. If you like this kind of chit-chatty, sitting on the couch, as if you were sitting there with us, give us a thumbs up. Let us know. Give us some feedback. If you'd rather us be back with our faces in the screen, giving you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to do, that's fine too. Just let us know. We're trying to make sure our channel is what you want it to be. We are coming up on 10,000 subscribers, and we want to make sure our next 10,000 are just as happy as our first 10,000. We'll see you guys next week.